All right, so today we're going to be talking about the V6 Mustangs, Challengers, and Camaros because of a comment that someone actually left on the last video. We're going to be taking out the Challenger today, and before that, we'll go ahead, get the cold start going, and then we'll get going on with the rest of the video. So. First thing that I want to do is point out this miles per gallon, which is at a 14.9 average is what I'm getting. And I'm going to come back to that in a bit. But for now, I'm going to start off by talking about the fact that really when it comes to cars, you're not going to make anyone happy pretty much ever, right? So it doesn't matter if you buy a V6 or a V8, because here's what's going to happen. You buy a V6 and people are going to tell you, well, why didn't you get the V8? So like, why didn't you buy an RT? So if you buy an RT, and this has happened to people because people complain about it online all the time, right? You buy an RT, you're going to be like, well, why didn't you buy a Scat Pack? You buy a Scat Pack and people will be like, well, why didn't you buy a Hellcat? Right? Like it's their car or like it's their money. And I'm going to tell you the epitome of it all, because this is where like just to drive home this point that people will just, you know, talk about things even though they don't like really understand, or that how no one is really going to be happy with what it is that you buy. So if you buy like a C8 Corvette, people will tell you that you should have bought the C7 because it looks better. And if you buy a C7, people will tell you, oh, you should have bought a C8 because it's faster, you know? And so at the end of the day, what's going to end up happening is if you're buying a car to make someone else happy or to get, you know, someone else to, you know, accept you, that's not really going to happen, you know, really. It's not going to happen. So really, you should be buying a car for yourself more than anything else. I'll just put that out there. Now, really, I love the V6 versions of these cars, right? And the inline 4 for the Mustang. So what I really like about the V6s is that they are just overall really, really good cars to have for most people. I mean, like if you think about like the V6 Challenger, that thing's got 300 horsepower, right? And 300 foot-pounds of torque. It's already pretty quick compared to what people had back in the day. And most importantly, that is to the rear wheels. Look at this guy. What is this? Guys, there's people in Las Vegas just cannot drive. So, the thing is that that's a lot of power. And like one of my earliest memories, like back when I had a V6, it was raining. So I come out of this plaza, right? And what ends up happening is I lightly step on the gas just to go over this little hill. And once I do, I lose traction. The car moves sideways and I really quickly regain control, and I happen to like not end up on a sidewalk. And mind you, I've been driving cars for a long time. You know, at this point, I've been driving for more than 15 years, never had a car accident, never had a ticket, like... But that is like what happens when, you know, you have over 300 horsepower and it's raining and you have stock tires. So like, again, these cars will make enough power to do stupid things in, even if you're not trying. So when it comes to V6 Camaros and Mustangs and all that other stuff, like, especially if you're a new driver or if you're not used to driving rear wheel drive cars with that much power, I think that they are really, really good starting points. They are still lacking a lot of the safety features, which is another reason for why I wouldn't recommend younger drivers to get a V8 in the first place, just because they don't have lane assist, they don't have brake assist. You could still very easily lose traction. It's just it's not great, you know? Like, it's not a very safe car, especially for young drivers. So the next thing really is that when it comes to it, I would recommend just not getting one of those. Now, I will say that there are also a lot of benefits to getting a V6 over a V8. The first one is the gas mileage. The V6s of the Challengers in particular will get you like somewhere around 25 on average. You know, I've seen some people get them higher than that. Meanwhile, you know, like I showed you, this thing's getting 14.9. You know, so you save a significantly higher amount of money on gas. Your insurance is going to be way cheaper. It's an airplane. You're going to save money on tires big time, because like the tires I have right now are the Michelin Pro Sport S's, you know, and they're summer tires, so you can't even drive the car in the winter, and they cost over $400 each, which is, you know, a lot for tires for anyone that knows, you know. So like this over 400 per tire. So it also needs a lot more maintenance. There's a higher chance that things will break. Overall, just getting the higher horsepower cars, just for the sake of it, isn't really a good thing. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're planning on tracking the thing, and you know you really need that Hellcat, then sure, I guess there's a reason. But the reality is, for most people, that's not going to happen. And you're not even going to be able to use those 800 horsepower like cars on the road normally, because, you know, like I said before, it's too much power for you to use on a daily road. That's really what it comes down to. The repairs will be a lot cheaper. Just all around, just a lot. Yeah, lower maintenance. So you're spending less on oil changes. You get way more value out of the gas. You don't have to replace your tires as often, because the tires I have are only rated to last, you know, like on average 25,000 miles, and only rated to last like 2.5 years or whatever. So spending way more money on tires, way more money on gas, way more money on insurance. You're just like, overall, these end up being, you know, pretty expensive cars to maintain compared to the V6 counterparts. It's much better for you to just get yourself one of the cheaper models if you're thinking about which one to get. The point is, you should do your best to, you know, get a car that you like, get something that will make you happy. Even now, some people will say, oh, well, you know, the V6 is slower than the V8. I'm like, okay, cool. The V8 is slower than a lot of other cars on the road. We now are living in a world where electric cars are a thing, and those electric cars are significantly faster than most of the gas cars that you can even think of, right? Like, if you buy yourself a gas car, just know that if you're trying to go fast, it's not really going to happen, you know, especially when you're talking about rear-wheel drive versus, you know, cars that have four-wheel drives, and, you know, they're always going to hook. Meanwhile, this car is just always going to, like, it's just going to spin out continuously. It's just not going to happen, you know, and that's definitely a problem. So as long as electric cars exist, really, you should be buying a car more or less just because you like it, rather than for its speed, because, I mean, the speed is just, it's not even an issue anymore. It's not a thing. You know, you're always going to lose to electric. And the thing is, like, even if you built a purpose-built drag car, so like you buy this car and you make it specifically so that you can actually race and so that you can beat an electric car, cool, you're not going to be able to daily that thing. Meanwhile, those electric cars, well, you know, you get the AC, you get the seats, you get the GPS, you get pretty much everything you could want, all while still being able to beat pretty much everything else, you know, that you're going to run into. Like, it's honestly just insane how much better electric cars are. So just add that to another reason for why, again, the V6 versus the V8 argument isn't a real argument. Now, I will say, there is one thing that the V8 does have over the V6, and this is a big one. This is the whole reason for why I even bought a V8 in the first place, and that is for the sound. You know, you really, the sound on a V8 is just amazing. But barring that, I mean, a poor financial decision for you just to decide to buy a car on just the sound alone. But, you know, it is one of those things. And with that said, I think that's pretty much it. I will see you guys next time. If any of you have any comments on the video, I would appreciate them, because I made this video because someone else made a comment about it. So if any of you have any good ideas on what I should, you know, what I should talk about, or if you enjoyed this video, just let me know. Anyways, see ya.